like that one. Yes, that's my bumper sticker. And there's half a dozen more of them. And my car is a daily secular advertisement. Um, and we'll get to the other ones later, I'm sure. So, about this idea of there being hell or hells, let's dig into that a little bit, eh? If you Google the word hell, you get 1,220,000,000 hits in less than half a second. I like Yahoo as a browser. If you do a Yahoo search, you get 1,260,000,000. You get 40 million more hits, 1.25 billion hits, right? So obviously, people have written an awful lot about hell. If you do an Amazon book search, you get over 30,000 titles on hell alone, right? All this info, commentary, discussion, right? Yet, no one has ever been to any one of the hell realms that any religion has ever proposed and come back to tell us about it. Nobody knows where they really are, okay? It's all fiction, it's all fantasy. The only facts there are about hell is the search data I just gave you, okay? But that doesn't stop anybody from blathering on about it. There is no information, no data, it's never been discovered. It's all speculation, but again, that doesn't stop the religious or the philosophers from blathering on about it, theologically analyzing it. You get the idea. The online Britannica definition is hell, according to the Gilgamesh epic, is a house of darkness where the dead drink dirt and eat stone. And that's a Mesopotamian myth from about 1 to the 3rd millennia BC, 5,000 years ago or so. You can read for hours on wiki, dictionary definitions, or any of those billion hits, right? And the consensus basically is hell is where the dead go. It happens after you die, probably involving souls more than your body, but depending, to be punished at least temporarily and in some religions eternally. There are dozens of hell realms from the world's religions, and just like all the gods that never showed up, no one has ever found or been to one of these omnipotent pricks' eternal torture chambers, okay? It's all utter fantasy. Can't talk. Just another childish explanation for how the world is supposed to work and to, keep you in line, right? So one example of those 30,000 Amazon titles is from a young Christian minister named Rob Bell. In 2011, he wrote this book, Love Wins. And the advertising blurb from the publisher said, quote, a book about heaven, hell, and the fate of every person who ever lived, close quotes. How the fuck does he know? Everyone who ever lived? Really? You're going to make that strong a claim? The arrogance of that book blurb is just staggering. This is what religion does to your brains, okay? He doesn't know any more about the fate of everyone on the earth than anybody else, okay? What Rob was proposing was a form of universalism, okay? That his God was so nice that maybe love wins and nobody ever really goes to hell. He was taken to task by a lot of the evangelicals at the time that don't like universalism. And this is one time, logically, I got to agree with the hardcore Christians on this one. What in the hell is the point of hell if everyone goes to heaven? If nobody goes there to get punished, right? So the theological absurdity of hell knows no bounds, and who goes and who doesn't has been a theological conundrum for millennia. And I look at it this way, isn't it just barbaric to even propose that you will be punished forever? I mean, in legal systems, with your raising your kids, you get punished for your transgressions, your crimes, but nobody gets punished forever, but not in religions, not all of them. You get punished, what, for worshiping the wrong God? Like, me, I'm unbelievingscum, and a bunch of religions I'm supposed to burn in their hell. Or you worship the right God, but you're doing it in the wrong religious sect, like Catholics and Protestants and Sunni and Shia and Islam, right? or you're worshiping the right God, you're in the right religion, but you're doing it wrong. You're doing wrong worship, wrong dogma, which is one reason there's thousands of different Christian denominations that all make their proclaims about heaven, hell, etc. What's really interesting is, as I was preparing this script today, glancing through my Yahoo News feed, there was a New York Times article on one of the Duggars' new book. The Duggars were a heavy-duty Christian family that were on TV about a decade ago. And in one episode of the former TV show, the children were singing, quote, "Why should I not be put in hell to suffer for all time?" And they were singing a praise to Jesus' blood sacrifice. The appallingness of that, teaching that to children, is just beyond me. But I had colleagues when I was teaching in Kentucky who were raised in Kentucky and Mississippi, and they listened to that kind of hellfire every Sunday. The preacher would get up there all red-faced and screaming and spittle flying out of his mouth, and they said he scared the crap out of them when they were kids, right? Claiming, you're going to burn in hell for this, for that, right? I'm going to read you a short excerpt from my book, Arrogance of Religious Thought. And I really think child indoctrination into ideas like hell is just child abuse. So, quote, "No one is born hoping others will burn forever in some dastardly conception of unspeakable agony. You have to teach people to think that's a real good thing, a necessary consequence, a righteous idea, an inescapable reality. You have to con them, usually when they're young. Almost always when they're young. You have to convince them while they're little. If you wait until they're adults to try to peddle that kind of stuff to them, they'll probably tell you to go to hell, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous." Somebody far greater than me, the great agnostic Robert Ingersoll, his comment on this whole nonsense is, quote, "The doctrine that future happiness depends upon belief is monstrous. It is the infamy of infamies. The notion that faith in Christ is to be rewarded by an eternity of bliss, while a dependence upon reason, observation, and experience merits everlasting pain, is too absurd for refutation." End quote. And when you think how absurd it is, it's just fashion of what we believe at any time or location in human history. No one believes in Hades and crossing the river Styx, the Greek mythology, anymore. Greek mythology is over on my mythology shelf, and we will get to that in later lectures. Nobody really believes in Dante's multiple levels in the inferno of very prescribed punishments. When you think about it, the poor guy was obsessed with the gruesome details of eternal torture, and then he evidently suffered his entire life from unrequited love that he never was able to consummate. I guess he was an early incel, I guess. The poor guy had a hell of a time. Okay, it was there. I had to take it. Come on. Okay. When you look at the globe of the earth, we know now that there is no up or down. It's out. Wherever you position you are on the globe, it's out, away, or down into earth. There is no down to hell realms, okay? And we know what's in the earth, the iron nickel core, and the mantle, and the magma, and the crust. There's no hell realm that is supposedly down below somewhere. And no one believes in Osiris or that your heart is getting weighed when you die, and the devourer is going to eat your heart if you're sinful and you don't pass the test. That's Egyptian mythology, and it's in my Book of the Dead over there on the myth shelf too, right? And why doesn't anybody believe that stuff about hell anymore, or those versions of hell? Because no one teaches those myths to children as true religion anymore. It's all man-made, okay? I'm going to give the last word to, again, a far greater writer than I, Christopher Hitchens. Quote, "Nothing proves the man-made character of religion as obviously as the sick mind that designed hell." End quote. Thank you, Hitch. So that's it for today as far as hell. It is outdated as hell. The whole conception should be thrown away, as I think sin, heaven, souls, all those kind of things. And we'll get to all that stuff in later lectures. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you do. Support us on Patreon if you can. I take a deeper dive into all this stuff on my companion site, Dispatches from the New Enlightenment, at wearedone.org. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, at unbelievingscum, and my Gmail is unbelievingscum@gmail, my email. So if you want to comment or send me hate mail, there's a place to do it. I have an Amazon link, obviously, to Tart on the banner up there too. So have yourself a great day. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to give blood if you can. And have a hell of a good time. Adios.